359 on the calendar in the matter of Otts Phillips versus Tuttle. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir.
Ms. Otts, this is your son.
Correct.
You purchased a car for your son on what date?
August 22nd.
What kind of car was it?
A 91 Ford Escort.
Were you excited with it?
It's a new car, yeah.
And he was using it to get to and from school.
And work, correct.
The car broke down on what date?
September the 8th.
So he called you and said, my car broke down on the side of the road. Can you come and get me?
He attempted to call me, and his cell phone died. So a sheriff had stopped, and he used her cell phone.
Okay, and did the sheriff take him someplace?
No, he called me, and then I came and got him.
From the car?
Correct.
From the location where the car
Correct.
was? And the sheriff had been there too?
She had left before I got there.
Did the sheriff take any information or do anything?
She ran my records and everything, and she put the orange ribbon on my antenna, stating that I had taken care of the tow, and it was all taken care of.
How did you take care of the tow?
I did.
How did you do that?
I called my brother. He works at Hickory Grove Auto, and I get all my tows through them.
Okay, and you left.
Correct.
When you got home, your son remembered that he had something in the car.
Correct.
So you drove him back to the car?
We drove him back.
And when you got back, the car was gone?
Correct. Called the police department to report it stolen.
On the same date?
Correct.
You have a copy of that report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
We reported it
Shh. Okay, so this is what the case is all about. Mr. Tuttle has a towing company, and Mr. Tuttle came and towed your car. A month later, he contacted you. On what date did you contact her?
Would have been around the 26th, I believe.
Of September or October?
That would have been September.
It was the 5th of October.
Let me see your record, sir, indicating that you spoke to her on September 26th. Would you point someplace here where you say it was September 26th when you called her?
Yeah, it's not the 26th, night 7. That's when it was picked up.
It says it was 9/7.
It's not my question to you, sir. Mr. Tuttle, this is not going to be a happy day for you, sir. I want you to remember that. The police report indicates that the car broke down, stolen, on September 8th. According to your receipt here that somebody signed, you got a message that the car was to be towed on September 7th.
Right.
That was the day before it broke down. Why would they want their car towed the day before it broke down?
We had a backup person filling in for the lady that was sick on that day, and she filled out all the information there.
Well, she filled it out wrong.
Yeah, obviously.
So this is what the case is about. You didn't contact her until October, which you could have done. You could have contacted her immediately when you towed the car. You chose not to do that. You kept the car for a month. Then you called her and you wanted $600 to get the car out of your impound, plus $85 for towing. You proved to me that she called you, sir, to pick up the car. Prove it.
Somebody called that tow in.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think that that's the way you do business. You cruise up and down, and you take somebody's car, and then you wait and build up a bill, and you say, well, this car's probably worth $600, $700. I'll wait until I get up to that point, and then I'm going to give them a buzz, and they'll want their car back. The only problem is the plaintiff had already replaced the car because she didn't know who had it. And this car, according to the plaintiff, had an orange ticket on it. What does that mean?
Police have came by it and tagged it.
Tagged it that said what?
That it's been tagged. That they noticed that it's there.
You indicate in your papers that the police officer is a witness. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Where's the police officer?
She's here today.
I'd like to see her, please.
Quiet.
Officer, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Deputy Jane Ruckolt.
You know this young man?
Yes, I do.
Did you respond to his situation when his car broke down?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember when that was?
On September 8th at approximately 4 o'clock p.m.
Not September 7th.
No.
No. And what did you do to the car?
If I can, I was westbound on Interstate 80 when I saw a white vehicle with its hood up on the right-hand side. I approached the vehicle, asked him if he needed help. He said yes. He was obviously broke down. His cell phone was dead. I offered him my cell phone, and at 4:02, this is a copy of my cell phone It's highlighted the number he called. He told me he was calling his mother. And before I left, I took a tape such as this one, and I attached it to his antenna. And this is the tape that all law enforcement uses. And this indicates that the vehicle has been checked by law enforcement to save them time so they don't go through and do the work again. I asked Joshua if he would be okay waiting for his mother. I gave him some safety instructions. And then I cleared the call at approximately 4:07. This is a copy of my report. I also have a copy of the stolen vehicle that was entered through our department.
How long have you been a police officer?
I've been a deputy for 14 years.
You familiar with tow truck operators that go up and down the highway to pick up cars?
I've heard of such. We have a contract, though, so I'm not involved with them.
You aware of the fact, though, that tow truck operators who are not authorized sometimes pick up cars along the road? I mean, I'm a citizen. I know what it's about.
Correct.
And he knows what it's about. Picked up the car and did the wrong thing. Didn't contact the owner and try to extort $600 from her. That's exactly what you did. What's the name of your company?
Tuttle, Auto Body and Towing.
Tuttle. Trucks have your name on the side? Tuttle. Keep an eye out for Tuttle.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The office called me
Baloney.
and told me to pick up a white Ford Escort
Baloney.
on I-80
Baloney.
near the Eldridge exit.
More baloney.
And later today,
Stand up. Take out your wallet. Take out your driver's license. I don't have a license. Sit down.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Suzanne Otts and her son Joshua Phillips claim tow company owner Michael Tuttle illegally towed their car after it broke down.
Mr. Tuttle, not only can't you give me a witness, because this happened, according to all your paperwork, the day before it happened, something like a bad Bill Murray movie.
Yep.
But I know what happened, and you had a responsibility to contact this lady on the 8th or the 9th. You chose not to do that. She did not call you. That's a lie. And anybody that you present to me that says that they took a call from this lady is a liar. And if that's who that is, he doesn't want to stand up here. I guarantee it. So you're going to pay her for her car, and you're going to give her her $85 back that you extorted from her. She paid $400 for the car, which was a lemon to begin with because it broke down a few weeks later. But it was her lemon, and you had absolutely no right to take it. You have anything you want to say to me, Mr. Tuttle?
Yep. That's
Go
wrong.
ahead.
That's wrong.
I'm listening.
Well, somebody made that call in there. We don't travel Iowa. We don't even go into Iowa. We're an Illinois tow company. So somebody called us over to Iowa to go over and pick that car up.
Show me.
I got paper that somebody called us over there.
You mean somebody was just driving by and called your company that's in another jurisdiction, somebody and then nobody came and got it?
Somebody made that call, ma'am.
Nobody made the call, Mr.
Yes,
Tuttle.
they did.
Nobody made the call.
We don't travel Iowa for no reason.
Mr. Tuttle, nobody made the call. Who was the tow truck operator?
He's the operator.
Who called?
The office called me, ma'am.
The office from the lady who wrote down the wrong date on the paperwork? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Baloney.
The office called me.
Baloney.
I was returning from a call
Baloney.
and told me to pick up a white Ford Escort
Baloney.
on I-80
Baloney.
near the Eldridge exit.
More baloney. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $480. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Very angry. He stole the car. He blatantly stole the car, kept it for a month,
No, ma'am, we did not steal your car. If
tried to get money out of us to get it.
we're going to steal something, it's going to be more valuable than a 91 Escort.
Glad it's over, and don't call Tuttle.
Baloney.
And now the next case.
All litigants involved in the case of Herrera versus Ponce, step forward, please.
27-year-old Sabrina Herrera is suing her mother, Christina Ponce, for the return of car payments on a 91 Camry. Sabrina says her mother illegally repossessed the vehicle.
Ms. Herrera, this is your mom.
Mm-hmm.
According to what I read in your complaint, you purchased a car. It was titled in your mother's name. She paid for the car.
No.
She didn't put down any money on the car.
No.
Did you put down any money on the car?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did you put down on the car?
$1,000.
Okay, and this was your agreement. Your agreement was for it to really be your car. You were going to make the monthly payments on the car,
Right.
even though the car was titled in your mother's name. But it was your car, and as soon as the monthly payments were completed, the car would be yours, the title would be yours.
Right.
At some point, you and your mother had a falling out.
Right.
You had made all the payments on the car.
Right.
Your mother doesn't dispute that. You had a falling out. You'll tell me why. It was something over your daughter.
Right.
And your mother took back the car.
Right.
So you want your mom to give you back all the money that you put into it because she breached the contract she had with you.
Right.
You look at me as if I'm not talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's what the case is about. Your mother says that you did, in fact, breach the contract with her because she allowed this car to be purchased in her name, using her credit. The car was for you and for her grandchildren. And she was annoyed that, A, you were disrespectful to her when you had this argument over your daughter, and B, she saw the boyfriend. I assume that that's the boyfriend.
That's my
driving,
husband.
Well, it's a new husband, right?
Got married in April.
She was annoyed because she saw him driving the car. And he wasn't supposed to be driving the car. It was just for you. Okay. Now you're going to tell me when you took back the car and under what circumstances, Miss Ponce.
Okay. When I bought my daughter the car, she was a single parent with 2 kids. I never knew that she got married. And I paid for the insurance. I went in there. I went to the credit union. I put the money down. What she did is the previous car I owned, I gave to her for her and my grandkids. As soon as she sold that car, she put the rest of the money on the car payment. Now, I was telling her not to be letting him drive the car. I have the insurance in my name. I've been paying the insurance payment since I got the car for her. He has no insurance. He had no license. And every time I seen him drive it, I would just tell her, Sabrina, he's not supposed to be driving.
How do you know he has no license?
Well, because my daughter said, being that he has kids, the judge took the license away because of child support. And being...
Stand up. Take out your wallet. Open your wallet. Take out your driver's license.
I don't have a license.
Sit down. Why did you let him drive the car without a driver's license?
He has a permit.
Stand up. Go over there. Take out the permit.
It's in there.
See it?
I have it. They obviously didn't put it in the files.
Listen to me. You don't have it here to show me you don't have it. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away because they want to punish you. They don't take it away and give you authorization to drive, especially when your mother's covering the car on her insurance. I was very sympathetic to you, I have to tell you. When I read this, I was about to say to you, you can't take the car away because the boyfriend was driving the car. She's making her monthly payments. She's entitled to, allow a boyfriend to drive her car occasionally or a friend to drive as long as the person has a license and is acting responsibly. But you can't let somebody without a driver's license drive your car. Can't do it.
Yeah, but he has a permit.
Listen to me. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away so that you can't drive a car.
But she never even cared before about that.
Now she cares.
Now she cares.
Now she cares. I'm getting less sympathetic with you. Let's get to this incident. Then, Miss Ponce, you say, you were babysitting for your granddaughter?
Yeah, my granddaughter, she means a lot to me. And she came to spend the weekend with me. And that day I had to work. I'm a caterer. I work pretty much a lot. And we went shopping. When we got back, my granddaughter was eating. She broke her tooth. And when she broke her tooth, I called my daughter up and I told her, Sabrina, you have to take Destiny to the dentist, that she's crying because her tooth was hanging. And she says, well, I don't have time. I'm leaving. And I'm going, well, where are you going? And she says, we're going to go out to eat. And I go, well, can't you just take Jessie, through a drive-through and you take your daughter to the dentist? And she said, no. She says, we want to sit down and eat. And then I said, well, you know what? You got your priorities mixed up. Don't ever have any more kids if you can't take care of my baby girl.
Perfect.
Then she told me, she goes, well, you know what? She goes, I'm going to take her to the dentist. But she goes, and I'm going to come and get her. But you're not allowed to see her no more. Don't call her. And don't even... And see, I can't. My baby girl means everything to me.
How old is she?
She's 7.
Have you seen her since?
Yeah, she allowed her to come with me on Thanksgiving.
Great. Okay.
Well, the thing is that she called me up and she told me that my daughter broke her tooth. I asked her, can you please, can you take her? Because she's really close to her and she can tame her. She can relax her. I can't because she's just really too close to her. And I said, you know what? I said, can you please do it? And she said no. So she told me.
Just a second. What day of the week was that? Do you remember?
It was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday. Okay. Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
You just come home from work. What were you doing?
What was I doing? We're getting ready to go eat dinner.
What had you been doing during the day?
Just
Nothing.
cleaning. Just cleaning and stuff.
Nothing. You
Taking
were
care of
hanging
my
around
kids.
your house. Why should your mother, who's worked on Sunday, take your daughter to the dentist when you've been doing but hanging around with, what's his name?
My husband.
Whatever, Mr. No License. What do you do for a living?
I stay home because I'm not supposed to really work right now because I have a heart condition.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
7. One just turned 4. That's my son, and 5.5-month-old.
When were you diagnosed with a heart condition?
When I was pregnant with my daughter.
Is this the 7-year-old?
No, the 5.5-month-old baby.
And what does he do for a living?
He was working, what is it, like in the freezer of 7-Eleven.
Who was paying this $221 a month?
I was.
From
well,
what?
at the time, he
From
was
just
working.
a second. From what?
At the time, he was working. Now he's
Listen,
not working.
now you have 3 children, and he doesn't look like he can earn enough so he can feed himself. So you're not telling me that he had an extra $221 a month to pay for a car?
But at the time, he was.
You get any
He was
assistance? Do you get any assistance?
Yes.
That's my baby. Then you say, I get assistance.
I get
and it's from the assistance that you were paying the $221 a month.
But actually, it was from him.
Actually, he
Because
was paying.
because
He was paying
working.
for your car. You're not
Actually,
entitled
he
to the
was
money back from your car. You can't afford a car. You have 3 children and
But I have my
one
receipts
person
and stuff.
working.
But I have my receipt showing that I...
Your mother does not have to maintain a car while you let somebody drive the car who has no insurance. And the insurance is in her name. You did the wrong thing.
But
You're not getting your money back. Do you understand?
But
Period. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
That's case number 44 on the calendar.
I'm her mother.
Why don't you have a seat for a minute, please? How old are you?
17.
Your mother's close enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel threatened by me in any way, do you?
No, ma'am.
That's a big mistake. How old are you?
I'm 18.
And this is your?
Mother.
According to your complaint, Miss Willis, the defendant is a friend of yours.
An ex-friend, yes.
Well, she was a very good friend of yours. And somehow she gave you a couple of checks that she asked you to cash for her.
Right.
You went into the bank, you cashed the checks for her. According to you, you gave her the money with the exception of $50
Right,
that she had owed you from previously. And then you were notified that these were stolen checks by your bank, and your account was charged for the money, and you want her to pay you back.
I do.
Now, I couldn't quite get everything that you were saying, Miss Thorpe, but according to you, you had stolen the checks, but she stole them from you. 2 checks. And you have no idea what she did with those checks. Is that right?
That's right.
So why don't we start with a story like once upon a time. Once upon a time, I was driving in the car with my friend.
Well, no.
Then just tell me.
Okay.
Let's go. Once upon a time.
Okay, once upon a time, last May 23rd, we were at a graduation practice. She asked me if I could cash a couple checks for her, saying she did not have her ID, and I asked her if she had a bank account she could cash them out. She said she didn't. So, you know, she's a friend of mine. I did it.
When did she give you the checks?
When we were at the bank.
How did you get to the bank?
I drove.
And how did she get to the bank?
She drove.
So you park your car at the bank. We're going to follow this. You know, we're once upon a time. Now, we're once upon a time. You've gone from graduation into the car. She follows you to your bank. You park your car. She parks her car. And you walked up to her car.
I walked up to her car to get the checks. I sat down in her car. Then I went inside. And
so she handed you the 2 checks.
Right.
What did they say?
I didn't pay a lot of attention to what the checks looked like, to be quite honest. I did ask her where they were from, what they were for. She told me that they were back child support from her boyfriend's ex-wife.
At any time previous to going to the bank, did you discuss with her how much the checks were for?
I think I asked her when we got there. They're for $47 each, and I looked.
When you looked at the checks, was that the first time you saw what the amount was?
I don't remember whether I asked her at the graduation practice how much they were.
Well, you're not a stupid person, are you?
No, I'm not stupid. I honestly just
You're not
don't
a stupid
remember.
person. because you have a bank account. How much money did you have in your bank account?
At the time, I had $603, and
So if somebody had asked you to cash checks for them in the amount of $2,000, you couldn't have done that, right?
Right, right.
So you had to have asked, well, how much are the checks for?
I don't remember. I was very naive. I didn't, at that point, I did not know that you had to have that much amount in your bank.
Did you hear what I said? You don't look naive.
I don't look now, but I've learned a lot since then. I have.
You mean in the few short months you've learned a whole bunch?
Just about this, about cashing checks, about banks.
Where did you get your money from to put in the bank?
From my job.
What kind of job?
I worked at an ice cream parlor.
So you knew enough to open up a bank account? Did you open it up by yourself or with your mother?
I've had it since I was 13 years old.
Great, so you know how to go in there?
Right.
So you know how to make deposits? Did you ever withdraw any money from the bank?
I did. Yeah.
Make out a withdrawal slip.
Well, no.
You don't live on Mars.
I didn't. I never used a withdrawal slip at my bank. It was a savings account. All I did was give them my social security number, ask for the amount, and I had to sign.
So what were these two checks made out for?
$447.50 each. And the reason I believed her about the child support is prior to this, a month before, she told me she was expecting a check for about $500, and she told me that is what she was going to pay me my $50 back for.
You have a
This was
child?
the beginning of May.
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Well, what are these 447?
I have copies of it.
Shh.
I'm sorry.
What is this 447 child support? What is that about?
Your Honor, I have no idea.
No idea. You have a boyfriend who gets child support?
I do have a boyfriend, yes.
Does he get child support?
Yes, he does.
Why does he get child support?
Because him and his wife were separated.
How old is he?
32.
And he has a child that he has custody of?
Yes.
And how old are you?
17.
Who is this?
This is
I'm
my
the boyfriend.
You're the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
How long has this been your girlfriend?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. You don't think she's a little young for you, do you?
I didn't plan it that way, Your Honor.
How much do you get in child support from your ex-wife?
About $50 a week. I have custody of both of my children.
$50 a week for each child?
No, ma'am.
Both?
Yes,
For both children? You get that by the month?
I get weekly. I get it weekly if she put
Let me see a copy of the checks.
And it's usually in cash.
Your Honor, Eric was the person that the checks were stolen from. I was convicted and charged for checks already.
You were charged and convicted.
Charged and convicted for 3 checks prior. I had stole them. I went down to the police station.
Where did you steal them from?
I stole them from Eric.
Who is he?
An old friend
Of whose?
of mine and my mother's.
How did you get his checks?
I went over there one day and I found them laying outside next to his truck, like they had fallen out of his truck, and I picked them up.
Why?
Stupidity.
And what'd you do after you picked them up?
I had gone and cashed a few checks, and
How many did you cash?
I was charged with 3 of them.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tiffany, that's her, with the belly button showing, advised that Stephanie wanted $50 to cash them, and she was given that amount.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephanie Willis says former friend Tiffany Thorpe owes for 2 checks she cashed on her behalf. Stephanie says the checks turned out to be stolen.
You walked into the bank, Miss Willis,
Right.
and you see these checks that are made out for $447.50.
Right.
They're not made out to anybody.
No, they were not made out to anybody. At the time, I was having a conversation with the teller at my bank. I was in a hurry to get somewhere, but I asked him. I got up, going out to ask Tiffany to sign them and ask why they were not made out to anybody. I turned around at that point and asked him if it would be all right if I did it myself, or
Why?
if it would matter, because I was in a hurry to get to see someone.
You know, I don't believe you
often.
either.
Huh?
I don't believe you either. I don't believe her. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Miss Willis, you want to know why it doesn't sound right to me?
Yes, I do.
She says, could you cash these checks for me? They're being given to my boyfriend from his ex-wife for child support. Then they would have been made out to him. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Especially if you tell me that his name, Eric, is written on the bottom of the check. Did you write his name too?
No, I did not. Tiffany
So that
did.
was there.
Right.
Who wrote that?
Tiffany did.
Did you see that?
I did not, but I know her handwriting. I've known her for 4.5 years. And
So
I
you
her
know that this
handwriting.
is her handwriting?
Yes.
So now
Specifically,
you know the following.
look at the dotted
Now
I.
you know the following. You know that she forged his name,
Right.
and you knew that when you were at the bank.
No, no, no.
Oh, yeah, you...
No.
You knew of
Not
4
the
years at
bank.
that
I'm
point.
I'm sorry. Not at the bank. I was not aware of that. At
Why
the
not?
bank, I assumed, I did not know the circumstances following the checks, and I assumed that she had gotten it from a friend of hers or perhaps her lover. I did not ask, and I was not sure, but at this point, I knew Tiffany, and we were very good friends for 4.5 years. I had no reason not to believe her.
I'll hear you.
Well, on that day, we did go for my graduation practice, and we were sitting there, and Stephanie was sitting in the car, and I had the checkbook sitting there in the council, and she had asked me what it was, and I had told her that they were stolen checks. And then we went to the gas station.
When you say she asked you what they were and you said they were stolen checks, are you telling me that she didn't say, where did you steal them from, whose are they? Nothing.
No, Your Honor.
She asked you nothing?
No. She just asked me what they were.
And you said stolen checks?
Yes, I told her.
Go
They were
ahead.
Stolen checks. We went to the gas station about 2 blocks away so I can get gas. And then I went inside to pay, and when I came back out, she told me that she needed to be dropped back off at her car. So I dropped her back off at the car, and I went home. And about a week later, she came knocking on my boyfriend's door and was talking to him about some sort of checks.
Step up.
Well, Your Honor.
Name.
My name is Timothy S. Brown.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with the plaintiff.
In May of 2000, Stephanie had stopped at my house on 3 different occasions. The first occasion, she came in my home and told me that she had gotten some checks from Tiffany that were stolen. This is the time I just found out about the whole stolen check situation. We were only dating for a couple months at the time. She told me that she had gotten some checks from Tiffany and deposited them in her account, and that she said that Tiffany said they were for child support. I knew at that time that something was wrong because I get cash from my ex-wife.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
And what was her reaction?
All she said that she got the checks from Tiffany, and that Tiffany said they were for child support. And
was she crying?
No, she was upset.
Was she upset?
She was kind of scared because she told me that her mother, her parents are involved in the bank account somehow, and she wanted to get it taken care of before her parents found out about it.
So that was the first time she came
Right.
to your house, and then?
I talked to Tiffany about it. At this time, Tiffany was denying the whole thing to me because she didn't want me to find out about it.
So Tiffany lied?
She lied to me about it, yeah.
And then she lied to her mother, too?
At the time, yes.
She lied.
You know.
Now, when she lied, did you believe her?
No, I was really skeptical about the whole thing, you know, from the start.
So initially, when she told you that she didn't know what this friend was talking
Right.
about.
I had my suspicions. I had contacted her mother to talk about the situation, to find out if she knew anything about it.
And her mother said?
No, she didn't, and, you know, reassured me that her daughter wouldn't do anything like that.
Okay. Step up a second. Sure. When your daughter told you what happened, she initially told you she didn't know what she was talking about. Is that right?
Well, when Stephanie came to me, and Stephanie told me a story that Tiffany gave her 2 checks and that they were for babysitting that Tiffany had done for somebody, and that she cashed those checks for Tiffany. But she didn't say anything about child support to me. She said it was babysitting money. That's what Tiffany had told her.
Is that right?
So,
I don't remember telling her that.
Your Honor, we have in a police report statement here, it's the statement that Tiffany had made to the police.
Let me say it. You told the police that you gave her 2 checks, madam. You told the police that you gave her 2 checks to cash.
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Your name is Tiffany, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Tiffany advised that she had given 2 checks to a Stephanie Willis for her to cash. You mean the police made a mistake?
When I went and confessed to the police officers that I had taken the checks from Eric, they had asked me that Stephanie's checks were not in the bunch because the checks had never cleared his bank.
I'm asking you a question. The police wrote this down. Tiffany advised that she had given 2 checks to Stephanie Willis for her to cash. Is what you're telling me that the police either mistakenly wrote this down or that you lied to the police?
I told the police officers that I had not given Stephanie any checks.
So that, according to you, the police officers wrote it down wrong. Put your hand down. The police officers wrote it down wrong.
Obviously, yes, Your Honor.
Listen to this, Bird. You have to listen to this. This officer who took this report from this 17-year-old psychopath must have been doing something that day to make himself feel happy, because he too is writing a once upon a time story, according to her. Let me tell you what else he wrote. Reporting officer asked Tiffany about the 2 checks that she gave to Stephanie Willis. Tiffany advised that the 2 checks were for $447.50 each. Tiffany, that's her, you know, with the belly button showing. Tiffany advised that she filled out the checks but left the pay to blank. Tiffany advised that she had Stephanie put her name in the blank. Tiffany advised that Stephanie cashed the checks and gave her the money. Tiffany, Miss Exposed Belly Button, advised that Stephanie wanted $50 to cash them, and she was given that amount.
But the $50, which...
Shut!
Okay.
Is she getting therapy? Is she in therapy and counseling?
After all this happened, I had 3 counselors involved, as a matter of fact.
Does she live at home with you?
Yes, she does now.
And what about him?
Well, actually, let me tell you the whole story.
Dying to hear this story. I thought this was easy.
Actually, I was very much against this relationship because of
That's
the
a very
great
good
age
thing.
difference. And at one point, I even got the authorities involved. I called social services, got a counselor involved, and I tried everything in my power to keep them apart. The only thing that accomplished is put a wedge between my daughter and my relationship. So I decided the worst thing I could have done was to try to interfere with that relationship. And so I choose not to any longer interfere with it at all.
Okay. Now, but she's living at home?
Yes.
What about him?
He is staying there temporarily
At
with
your
his
house?
2 children, yes, actually.
You know, there's one thing about not interfering, and there's another thing, and, you know, she's 17 years old.
Right.
I don't believe her mother is responsible for this $950.
Correct.
And since she's 17 years old, I cannot find her liable. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? The only way that I can find her liable is if I make her mother responsible. She is, I believe you. I believe that you got suckered in by her. And I believe that she is a liar. I believe that she continues to lie. I believe that she's probably in a relationship that she shouldn't be in. I believe that her mother is caught between a rock and a hard place. But I think that her mother being caught in a rock and a hard place does not put her mother in a position where she is responsible for the forgery and the theft by her daughter to you. Because I, too, believe that you had a certain responsibility, and that was to be a little more vigilant. Not put your name on these checks when it was clear that they couldn't have been for child support. Because child support checks would have been made out to him for the 2 children. Not
I had
blank.
no experience with that.
Not
the story
blank.
she gave me, I had no reason.
Well, you
not
should have
to
been more
trust her.
vigilant.
I
Certainly,
should
her
have.
mother could.
I should
Certainly, her mother could not have known.
Right.
And in order for me to find in your favor against this side of the table, I have to rule that her mother is responsible.
ओए जेबी रैंडम पंचिंग मत किया कर। बारह बारह ओए रुक जा देवी होना बस तो ना इस गड्डी जो है इस गड्डी ओए बैठ बैठ, इसका एक टास्क करवाना है। ओ सॉरी सॉरी। जे भी बैठ ना।